Hello and welcome to Women Empowerment Edition Impact for Change. The purpose for the podcast is to provide the space for women to share their stories in an inspiring way to help impact and inspire other women. Now, today's guest, that person, I know her personally. She's a fantastic human being. She's a certified confident coach, self belief guidance, and meditation facilitator. Her career background is a 42 years in retail banking until retired in 2019. She's also the author of Building Confidence, How to Thrive as a Shy Person, a writer for a medium.com, and a host of a podcast, Building Confidence. She believes that confidence is on the other hand or on the other side of courage. Please help me welcome the amazing, amazing human being, Sue. Hi, Sue.
Hi, Reid. Thank you so much for that fantastic introduction. I feel I'm blushing. I'm very flattered. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for, agreeing to be on my podcast. It's been absolutely an honor.
No, thank you for inviting me. It's my honor, really.
God, honest, absolutely mine. So before we start, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah. So as you said, I'm a confidence and self-belief coach. I'm just about to start doing a meditation group, so facilitating a group. So
Uh-huh.
I've that's brand new. I've never done that before, so it's all new to me, and that's in my community. So that was good for me because I retired just before the UK went into lockdown. So I
Mm,
retired in 2019, April 2019, we went into lockdown in March the
mm,
following year. And so I spent lockdown writing my book, and then I started working with people and doing like my coach training and then coaching, but I've done it all online. And it's kind of dawned on me that I don't do anything in the community anymore. And I used to. I
mm,
used to run women's groups. I used to go to yoga. And I
mm,
thought I would like to get back to face
mm,
to helping people, in that are in the same room as me, if you like. So
mm,
I thought, what do they need in the community? And I think sometimes if you ask people if they need coaching, people are a little bit reluctant to come forward.
yeah.
So rather than that, I asked people if they had ever done meditation and was that something they'd like to start. And I got quite a lot of encouraging feedback on that yeah, this is something we'd really love to do. So that's going to start in September. I'm really looking forward to that. I live in Devon with my husband, my second husband. Devon is in the southwest of the UK. For anybody that doesn't know it, it's really beautiful. It's a lovely place to live.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I'm sure that meditation group will be absolutely fantastic because women and even men, they want that, and especially after COVID. So after COVID, like we hardly go outside and socializing. This is going to be a great idea, for women, especially women, to gather and socialize and get out of that comfort zone, to be around people, like-minded people, and do something. So that's really fantastic. So that's really,
Thank
really
you.
fantastic. And in my introduction, I said that you are self-confident, and you have self-confidence. Are you self-confident coach as well?
Yes, yeah. So anything around confidence. I've been dealing with all sorts of confidence issues and kind of any age group. I'm thinking, so this is only a thought in my head of kind of niching that down a little bit and dealing with people that are still in the area of confidence, but the over 40s, so midlife and onwards, so kind of the second chapter
Mm,
stage, because I
mm,
think that is a time that people by then should feel confident, but quite often we don't. And I think there is a lot of problems, particularly, I mean, there's a lot of problems everywhere, but
Yeah.
that, I think that's something that needs to be dealt with, that kind of age group, to help people plan for the future, release the past as well, because a lot of us, we live in the past, and what I mean by that is we are very much held back by limiting beliefs that came originally from childhood, things that happened years and years ago that we're still telling ourselves stories about. And I've learned to let go of mine, and I know how difficult it is. So that's something I want to try and help people with.
Wow, that's really amazing. That's really amazing. So, and I know, through our conversation that, since I get to know you, that you have, I know this issue, everyone go through it, especially when it comes to self-confidence, because self-confidence fluctuates. It's not like self-worth and all that, but self-confidence fluctuate. It depends on the environment and outside. So I know you also had an issue growing up with self-confidence and you didn't have self-confidence. Can you please tell us about that?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I was born shy, and I think a lot of people are born shy, and that's not a problem. At the time, I thought it was a problem. But my real problem was lack of confidence and lack of belief in myself. I honestly believed for a long time that my parents didn't love me. They were born during the war, and I think people born in that time, it was a very difficult time for everybody, and they didn't learn how to show love. And it was very difficult for my parents. They weren't very loving people, and my father was very busy. My mother, I think she had, looking back now, I think she had postnatal depression. I didn't realize that when I was young. I didn't really know what it was. But my mum was always telling us that she didn't want children. It was my dad that wanted children. She wished she'd never had them. My both my parents were very strict. My dad, my father had very high expectations from all of his children. And again, I've reflected a lot on this over the years, and I can see now that he was trying to motivate us, but he set his standards so high that, if I came home from school and said, yes, I took a test and I got 80%, which would have been a pass, he would have said, why didn't you get 100? And if I said I got 9 out of 10 right, he'd say, well, what did you get wrong? He was more interested in the one you got wrong than everything else you did right. And I know he wanted us to succeed, but that pressure is too much for somebody who is shy with low self-esteem. It just adds to that, I don't feel good enough. And so that held me back for a long time. I grew up thinking, nobody loves me. I'm on my own in the world. My sister did get the high marks. She did meet my dad's expectations. So, of course, in my child's mind, they love her more than me. That's clear. So it was very, very difficult. And being shy, with not believing in myself, not thinking anybody loved me. What happens to a child when they are in that environment is they look for love elsewhere. And also they quite often do things to try and get their parents' attention. So if you've got parents that aren't paying much attention to you, except to tell you when you're doing wrong, then by doing wrong, you'll get their attention. So I mixed with the wrong people. I stayed out really late. I did everything I could to annoy my parents. But it led me down not very good paths. So I mixed with the wrong people. I got into bad relationships, very, very self-sabotaging, things I'm not proud of doing now, but I've had to forgive myself over the years. But that led me to a bad marriage. So you can see, like, I was on that self-destruct path, but it all started with that not feeling not loved. And do I blame my parents for that? No, I don't, because I don't think they knew any different. I think that my dad was very busy and he just wanted to do the best for his children. And my mum was, I think she was very depressed.
Wow. Wow, an inspiring story. Truly, child growing up on that environment is not easy thing. It's not absolutely easy thing, because I know so many women can relate to this.
Mm-hmm.
So many, even I can relate to this. I am the one who was born, in like early 90s, late 90s. I had very strict, parents as well, and I had issue with self-confidence and all that. So how is that affected you mentally? Because I know you told me it affected your decision. How is that affecting you, seeing your father always praising your sister, always, encouraging your sister? And I know you took it in the right way right now, but before then it's different, because a child mind is they think different.
Yeah.
You think like, oh, they don't love me. How is that affecting you mentally and emotionally? You see, like, the differentiation between, the how the treatment between you and your sister.
Yeah. So my sister and I have never got on. We, to be honest, we've tried, especially in later years, we've tried to have a better relationship, but I think that it put a wedge between us, because I, watching her getting all the attention and feeling that I wasn't getting any. She went to a grammar school, I went to a state school. She went to university. I wasn't even expected. Nobody even asked me if I wanted to go to university. It was just expected that I wouldn't. So I wasn't encouraged at all. I was just made to think that I wasn't clever, and that's that. It's just one of those things. I know now that I was a lot more intelligent than anybody gave me credit for, but being shy, you're not the person who puts their hand up in class. So there's that plays into it as well. I was always very quiet. So no, me and my sister have never got on. My sister's 4 years younger than me, and then 3 years after that, so when I was 8, my mum had her fourth child, my younger brother. And at the same time, my grandmother died, and my mum was very close to my grandmother. And I think she passed away 3 months before my brother was born. And that really sent my mum down a spiral of depression. And I kind of became a surrogate mother for my younger brother. So although I was very young myself, I spent an awful lot of time with him. And I think that it gave me that person to love that I needed. And even today, we are very, very close. And his children, I'm very close to them as well. So I think I kind of pushed my sister away, but clung on to my younger brother. And that, again, has caused issues between my younger brother and my sister. So I think there was a lot of jealousy involved, which is a shame. I would have loved to have had a relationship where all my brothers and sisters were close, but I don't think any of us were. And I think, again, it all goes back to the parent-child dynamic.
Oh, wow. So I think it's all what you're saying right now. I know a few women in my life that they can relate to that. But also not only with, because I think when you say you gave all, like, the attention and the love to your younger brother, I think you are giving him something that you didn't have, because your parent didn't give you that. And when your brother came, you say, I'm going to give him what my parents didn't give me, the attention, the love, and that caused the jealousy, which is, it wasn't intentional.
No,
It
nobody
wasn't.
planned any of this. It's just the way things turned out.
And that's I think it's not that's absolutely all right, because I know you growing up. First of all, growing up, I know you said you're giving, your relationship with your brother was absolutely fantastic. But how is that comes to your self-confidence? Do you, like, when you starting looking after your brother, do you felt, oh, I am starting to regaining my self-confidence, or how did you start regaining your self-confidence again?
I didn't start regaining my self-confidence for a long time because
Mm.
I went through a bad marriage. So like I said, I was going down this road of self-destruction, if you like.
Yeah.
Not when I was 8. This began when I was a teenager. So I was very good when I was 8. But
Yeah,
when I
people
was
gonna say yeah.
when I was in my teens, so I guess from age 14 onwards, when
Mm,
you're going through puberty, you're turning into a woman. Life is
mm,
very difficult anyway. So I
mm,
didn't have a mother that I could talk things through with.
mm,
I was too scared of my father to talk to my father about stuff, so I didn't really have anybody. And when I was 17, I got into a bad relationship. I
mm,
went out with somebody who was a lot older than me. So he was 24 and I was 17.
mm,
And he ended up trying to kill me. I got stabbed.
oh my
Um,
God.
and I went into hospital. So that was bad enough. Nearly died. He went to prison. Um, but that again, I came out of that thinking I need someone now to protect me. So I'm not only just looking for love, I'm looking for protection as well. So I then went out with somebody else a few years later and had a close relationship with someone else who was big, he was strong, he could protect me, but he used to push me around and beat me up instead. So another toxic relationship. Then I met somebody else who I thought would save me from this one.
Mm,
We moved away. That's why I moved back to Devon. I was born in Devon, but my family moved to Gloucester. I moved back to Devon with the man I married, my husband. He didn't beat me, but he mentally tortured me, mentally abused me.
mm,
Um, and so any little bit of confidence I had, by the time I got to the end of that marriage, by now I was 38 and still had no confidence, still any little bit of confidence I had was completely knocked out of me by then.
mm,
I just felt awful. Um, but the marriage ended. It ended because I lost my temper one day and I hit him. And he left me because he said, and we got a divorce because he said he couldn't live with a violent woman. After all those years, he couldn't live with a violent woman. So, and I just hit him once. But I put everything I possibly could, like all the years of anger, into that
mm,
punch, and he fell over. And I don't think he liked it very much. But anyway, so I came out of that marriage, and I thought, right, you are destroying yourself, woman. You
mm,
need to sort your life out. You're 38 now. You can either go along this path of self-destruction and find somebody else who's going to treat you just as badly, or
mm,
you pick yourself up and you sort your life out. I chose to pick myself up. And I think when you hit the bottom, and I
mm,
think you've had experience of this yourself, when you hit the bottom, there's
mm,
only one way you can go. You either stay on the bottom or you rise up.
mm,
And that gave me the strength. And I started reading self-help books, and I read so many self-help books. There weren't really any life coaches then. I didn't want to go to therapy because I didn't want to talk about the past. To me, it was too awful to talk about.
mm,
Um, I just wanted to move forward. So I read all these self-help books. I started to meditate about 10 years ago, but I started to journal early on. I started writing things down, and gradually I worked on myself from the inside out. And I think it gave me so much strength. Long before there were life coaches, I think I was coaching myself. And I think I bit by bit, I put myself back together again.
Wow. That is absolutely amazing. I mean, not in a way that you thought you go through all this experience before. Were you like, when you went through all this relationship, were you like looking for love, looking for something that is been missing from your life all these years?
Yeah, I've read a lot about this. I've done a lot of research on it, and I can understand where I was coming from. When you don't have love as a child, you do look for it elsewhere, and that can get you into bad relationships. But the thing is, because you don't love, because I didn't love myself, I met some really, really nice guys that, would have brought me happiness, would have given me the love I desperately needed. I pushed them away because I thought, why would somebody like you love somebody like me? You're not seeing the real me. If you saw the real me, you'd realize how awful I am. So therefore, I will stick with the people that hurt me, because I don't know, because that's what people do. It's at this weird kind of self-sabotage, this road that you go down. You push away people before they can hurt you. You think there's no way you're going to love me, so I'll push you away. And I would hurt them sometimes. And then I'd go back to the people that treated me really badly. And I know that a lot of women have been in that situation and done exactly the same thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A lot of women can relate to this. And I think it's because we have that fear, and sometimes because we don't see our self-worth. Other people see it. The good people, they see how value we are. But when we don't value ourselves, we don't see any other people. We don't see that value. We don't see that in their eyes. We don't see how we are like worthy of that love. I can relate to this. Absolutely, I can relate to this. And it's very, very tough, especially with women. You said you didn't had anybody to talk to. People who going through abuse, whether in their family, whether they're in their relationship with their spouse, whether even their friends, even at workplace, they don't like stand up for themselves, is because of the self-confidence, and because of they wasn't grown up in the environment that give them self-confidence and help them boost that self-confidence. And you said you started working on yourself from inside out, where you went through, after you went through all these challenges, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, everything. Like, I'm first of all, hats off to you. Like, it's very strong. Like, you very, very strong. Truly inspiring. Truly inspiring. Like, was it challenging for you? Because at the time, it wasn't. There is nobody there to guide you. Was it challenging for you to work from inside out? Have you faced any like doubt, any fears, any kind of resistance?
There was an awful lot of doubt. I mean, everything I did on my own. I didn't trust anybody, and I didn't want to tell people about my past, because I thought, then people judge you. So it's only like as I've got older that I'm more open to being vulnerable now. And I think, this is me. This is why I wrote my book. My book is my story woven into action tips to help people build their confidence. So yeah, there were lots of challenges to overcome. I think the self-help books, although self-help books are generic, I mean, they're not they're written with someone in mind, but they're not written for the person that's reading it specifically. But I think by reading all of those self-help books, that helped me a lot. I learned a lot about myself and, where I was coming from. I think one of the encouraging things for me is when I started work, I still had this belief that I wasn't lovable, but I found that people did like me, and that actually came as a surprise, because at school I had a few friends who I was very close to, but they weren't the friends I wanted, which sounds horrible. They were really good friends, but I wanted to be part of the cool gang, the girls that were the ones that were the pretty girls and the girls with all the makeup. I was never allowed to wear makeup. So the ones that were always like the loud ones, not the nerdy ones like me. But when I started work, I found that customers, because I worked when I first started in the bank, I worked on the tills, and in those days it weren't like all the machinery there is now. So it was all like people taking in money and giving out money. So I was one of 9 cashiers, and most customers that came in regularly would queue up at my till because they liked chatting to me. And even though other cashiers would call them over and say, do you want to come over here? They'd go, no, it's okay, I'll wait for Sue. Which I realized that actually there's something about me people like, and I don't know what it is. And that helped my confidence a lot. I mean, I still had the bad marriage, like it didn't stop me getting into a bad marriage, but I think it made me realize that I'm perhaps not all on my own in the world. There are people out there that I can get in touch with.
Wow. Well, I wish if women listen to this. I mean, it's quite like so empowerment, with your story and with your sharing. And a lot of women can relate, even younger generations, they're going through this because I know people, as I say, I know lots of people, but I know people, especially from my culture that I come from, that their parents, they don't give them that space, and they end up, same as you say, end up in a bad marriage. They end up doing things that they don't want just to get their parents attention, and that is wrong. That is wrong for the person to do that, and not to find the environment to safe space, as you say, to share their emotions. And it's very tough when a woman in particularly don't find that space. Because the men, I know some men also, they have these issues. They absolutely have these issues. And for you to actually to go through all that and work on yourself, and you write a book, that's absolutely a fantastic. And I know now what really inspired you to become a self-confidence coach, because of your story and because of why, your why is bigger than anything else. And that's absolutely amazing. Do you think if you had that environment, and if your parents were more open and more, say, lenient with you, and they treat you fairly and give you the love, do you think the thing will be different right now?
That's very difficult to say, isn't it? I mean, I was thinking about this the other day, that if I could go back, would I change anything? And no, because I wouldn't know all the things I know. I wouldn't have learned everything I know. I wouldn't be the person I am now. I probably wouldn't be married to my husband that I've been married to for 26 years now, who is a really good man. And has been through his own struggles. So, I now have a great marriage. I now have a great family. So I don't know whether I would actually change anything. I think the only thing that would change if I could. And the thing that I would advise everyone, but particularly women, is the one thing I lacked is somebody I could turn to and talk to about my troubles. I didn't have anybody I could trust. I had an aunt that I was very close to, but I don't think I told her a lot because I was worried that she'd go back and tell my parents. But so what I would recommend that every young woman finds somebody that they can talk to. And if that's a life coach then, or a therapist, then that is the ideal, because you've got somebody who will listen to you. They will keep it confidential. They're giving you space to talk. I think the thing is, we go to life coaches and therapists when we've got issues, but we should go before. We should go so that we've always got somebody to say, hey, this happened this week. What do you think of this? And then we can get some feedback on, how we should react to different things. And I think schools should provide it. Any educational system should provide somebody that a young person can talk to openly and without fear of it being fed back. And I think that's what's missing in our system.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. We need that. Because I remember when I was in college, we had a counselor. I remember when, my friend passed away. One my lecturer told me, like, would you like to speak to the counselor? And I think that's what we really need right now. But people also will say it's easy said than done, especially right now with technology, with people see like they're not even happy with themselves, with people seeing things social media, even people now, they lack self-confidence more than ever. So what would you say to this young generation who are actually going through this transition in their lives, and they trying and they fighting, they trying to want to build that self-confidence and love themselves for who they are? What would you say as a person who walked, the journey?
I would say find somebody you can talk to. And that, if you're a young woman or man, that could be your parent. It could be an older brother or sister. It could be a teacher at school. But find somebody you trust that you can talk to, because there are so many things in life that you need help with. Because when we're young, we are learning. So we're learning, we're learning all of our lives, but there's so much that older generation can teach younger generation. So people of my age, and if I'm 65, I don't mind saying, so there's so much that my generation can teach the younger generation. But you need to ask us, you need to let us know what's on your mind. The thing with social media is it's just technology. But it's used as a way, it's used for the good, but it can also be used for a way of segregating people, for abusing people, for convincing people of things, of shaming people. Like, it can be used in so many bad ways. But what we need, what the younger generation need, everybody needs, is the resilience to realize that that is just words. Like, that person that's abusing you online, you can scroll past them, you can block them. Don't let that go in. Keep it away from you. Just look at the beauty in the world, not the ugliness. That's what we should focus on, because if you watch the news, you'll think that the world is falling apart. It's, slowly burning. We're all evil. We're not. Most people, the majority of people, are good-hearted people. We all have problems, and that can put a lot of pressure on us. But the majority of people are loving people. There is more love in the world than hate, whatever you see online or in the media. And we saw that in the UK with the rioting a couple of weeks ago, where the anti-racists came out in their thousands to show that we don't put up with this sort of rubbish. You know,
No.
you're not standing for the children of this country. You are just idiots and bullies, and we stand up to bullies. So yeah, always find somebody you can talk to. Always look for the beauty in the world, not the ugliness, because there is so much more beauty. You've only got to look out, like when you finish listening to this podcast, go and look out your window now and look for a bird, look for a leaf on a tree, look for a flower, look for running water. There is so much beauty, even just a stone. Look at all the different colors in a stone. Look at the sky, look at the beautiful clouds and the shapes they make. You cannot feel unhappy when you look around you.
That's great advice. That's absolutely amazing advice. That everyone young generation needs to consider and take it into. I will after today. So, what would you say to women now who are going through the transition of building the self-confidence and they want to regain that self-confidence and self-esteem back, but they either don't know how or they still doubting themselves? So what would you say to these amazing women outside there?
Well, you can buy my book. That'll give you a start. I would say take one step at a time. So take every problem as a challenge, and just take everything one step at a time. You cannot climb a mountain by jumping from the bottom to the top. The only way you can climb a mountain is by moving up slowly, one bit at a time. Get to one bit and then look for the next bit and then look for the next bit. That's all you can do. Just do everything step by step. Believe in yourself. That's the first thing. The absolute foundation to confidence is self-belief. Believe that you have something to offer it to the world. So every single one of us is a beautiful individual person. We're all unique. We've all got good points. We've all got bad points. We've all got our little quirky bits, but we are all beautiful people. We've all got something to offer to the world. And to prove that to yourself, this is something I recommend to all of my clients. To prove that to yourself, write yourself out what I call a greatness list. So start making a list of everything that you've achieved in your life. So even the smallest little things like learning to swim, riding your first bike, learning to drive, everything you've ever done, write it down, and you will have the biggest list you can imagine. And that just proves how great you are.
I'm going to do that right now after I finish this.
It's a great exercise, and you can keep adding to it all the time as new things come up.
Absolutely, absolutely fantastic. So thank you so much. And if people want to buy your book, where they will find it?
It's on Amazon.
Amazon. Yeah. Amazing. And if people want to connect with you, communicate with you, where would they find you?
Okay, so I have a website, which is suereidcoaching.com. You are always free to email me, which is sue@suereidcoaching.com. I'm on Instagram, which is @suereid1905, which is my birthday, by the way, 19th of May. And I'm also on LinkedIn under Sue Reid. So yeah, lots of different ways to get in touch.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. So, for the great advice, the great wisdom that you shared with me and the young generation and even the older generation. The women out there, I'm sure after they listen to this, they will get so much inspired and empowered to go and build that self-confidence, because I know it's one of the elements in life that we all need and it's a must. We have to have it because
Mhm.
without confidence, we can't go anywhere and we can't do anything or we can't accomplish anything in our lives. So thank you so much, Sue. So, do you want to say anything? Last word?
Well, just thank you for having me here. It's been great talking to you. And just to say, when I think of my life now, I'm a completely different person to what I was, even 10, 20 years ago. It took me a long time to really build up my confidence. But once I started, it's like a roller coaster. It gets faster and faster. You get stronger and stronger. Um, and if anybody even needs a chat, just get in touch with me. I've got so much wisdom in my old age now to offer. I can help anybody.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much. And absolutely, thank you, everyone. And I will leave all the details of Sue and how you can reach Sue. And I'm sure, please, please, if you hear this, today's Sue story and her wisdom and, all the amazing tips that she gave today, reach out to Sue and have a chat, and communicate with her, and if you need any help, she will be able to help you. Thank you so much. Till I see you again. Bye bye.